Hey everybody, and welcome to Mondoid, your weekly Project Zomboid update. Week 15, I think. Week 15. And this is a good week. This is a week that a lot of people have been waiting for. It is a big block of text. There are no videos to get excited about, so don't worry about that. As always, I highly suggest you go to the blog and read it all, as I'm just going to be going over the important notes. But if you're at work or you're in an area where you can't access the website, I am happy to give you the rundown and give you my personal spin and opinion on what is being talked about in this week's Mondoid. So, I'm going to be going over each section, over the titles that they talk about, and what exactly it means for us. And the title of this blog post is RC3 Developments. Basically the topic we have been clamoring to hear more about since we knew RC3 was basically being developed for the past long time. I want to say it's been a year since we saw last an update. Could be less than that, though. Either way, what we see this week is them talking about RC3, where it is in the development cycle, when we plan to see it. And it's really important to get this out of the way. This is the answers everybody's been looking for. It is close. It is very, very close. So what they're doing right now is finishing touches. This past week, they've been dealing with a particular bug that they talk about where the zombie pathing indoors has been crap. And it set them back about a week, but it's done. So let's start with the natural course of development, what they're talking about. They said that what they want to do is get this out. They know there's been a PZ drought. They've talked about the early releases groups like Steam thing that's going on, almost like pay for early access where you're kind of pay to be a tester, but they still don't want to put that out on that yet until they are at the point where they can continue to update the game once a week. Once that's there, once we're there, they're talking about potentially getting it up there. So that's going to be good. So let's start with the very first big paragraph. What's going to be in this 3.0 RC release? The important thing is, and something they hinted at last week, is that the metagame and NPCs are going to be out of this. And the reason they want that to happen is they want to get a version out that's still fun, really fun, playable, and able to be bug tested by the closed testing group. With that out there, we can get that. And once that's done, we'll probably see an open one that we can all play without the NPCs and without the metagame. And then we'll see one with the metagame and NPCs, etc., etc. Right now, what they're talking about, though, is that the game coming out, the one that's going to be without NPCs in the metagame, is still going to have a ton of stuff, which is going to be the roots of the metagame systems that cover zombie and zombie migration, so soon new zombies and zombie migration, map streaming, so no more cell chunks, which is fucking awesome, farming, the new skill and trait system, carpentry, female characters, better character customization, loads of new animations, new shaders, new lightings, sandbox options, which I'm personally excited for, the new front end, the new UI, and the backpack system, a new modding system, new music, and all the bug fixes that 2.5 has been crying out for so long, plus a bunch of other stuff. The only thing outside of the metagame and NPC that's going to be omitted is going to be the Kate and Bald Spot tutorial. How freaking awesome is that? Tell me, like, how cool is that? We're going to see a version of the game that's going to have so much new and exciting in the game to make your gameplay experience completely unique from, say, mine, that's going to allow you to customize your gameplay experience with the new sandbox options, to dick around, to have fun, all the new window systems, the animation, all of that's going to be in this game to make it feel new. Even without the metagame, without the NPCs, we're looking at a game that is going to be incredibly fun, no matter what. And that's really going to be the kind of the core. Now, of course, it's going to be a lot of bugs. We're going to be kind of play testing it once it hits the open public access. There's still going to be stuff we're going to be working out. But at the point we're going to get it, I assume that the testers are going to really have worked out pretty much all of the major bugs. That way it's not going to hinder the gameplay experience. Of course, it's still an alpha, so bugs are to be expected. But this is it. We're like at the finish line of a long marathon, I think is the best way to put it. We're so close to the release of this game in such a playable state. There's reason to be excited again. For a long time, you, myself, and everybody else out there have kind of taken a step back and been like, okay, this game is going to come out, but really there's nothing to get excited about. Well, now there is. Because the next paragraph is, or the next section rather, not paragraph, as it composed of many paragraphs. It says, what's the current test build status? So right now, like I said, they hit a bug with the zombie pathing problems, which is going to be fixed, or has been fixed rather. And now they're working on a bunch of smaller things that they expect to be done in a day or two. And then it's going to go to the closed testers immediately after. And if that's the case, we'll probably see a Twitter announcement that it hits closed testers within a few days, which is what it said. So make sure you follow them on Twitter at the Indie Stone. Once it hits closed testing, then we know we're looking at probably a couple weeks before we all get our hands on it. So that's, again, we're hitting the finish line, guys. It's almost there. That is excellent. And then they talk about, can you be in the closed testing? And they said, really, you can't. There's no way to apply for the closed testing. It's a small, hand-picked group of people that they can trust, and then they generally think that are going to be able to handle the game and find all the bugs that they need. So there's really no applying for the closed testing group. But keep in mind, once it's in the closed testing phase, you're looking at a couple weeks at most before you get your hands on it. Maybe a little longer than that, depending on what kind of things they're talking about. And this is the next section, actually. How long will the closed testing last? And they said that's $1 million question. It's hard to say. Another patch release, they basically said they don't want to release a game that is going to be rushed and incomplete like they have in the past. And if that means keeping it in the closed testing phase for longer, so be it. That's going to be the case, and they're going to take essentially the old Blizzard route for that. If it needs more time, it needs more time, and they're not going to hand you a game that is incomplete and buggy as hell just because you're all crying for it. And I understand the torment of waiting, but keep in mind, once it's in the closed test, it's being tested. It's being played by people, and you can fully expect it to eventually come out. It's being played. You don't have to sit there and go, well, when the hell am I going to get my hands on it? It's being played, and it's going to be done. Once it's done, then we'll get our hands on it. And the final section is basically the Steam Early Access thing, which I've already talked about. They said they're not going to put on Early Access until they know they're at a point where they can regularly update the game. Because with Steam, it's very hit or miss. People could completely misread something on the or just completely ignore the description of the game and get really upset. And they don't want to have a bad taste, more of a bad taste in the public's mouth than there already may be with all the stuff that's happened in the past. And that's a smart decision, in my opinion. And that's it for the blog. Like, those are the big points. Of course, they talk about it in much bigger and thicker detail than I am. But for me, what this blog says is that we're almost there. We're almost there, and that's incredibly exciting for somebody who's played the game in early 1.5 alpha, who's had this game for a couple of years now, who is now very close with the developers and has worked closely with them, has interviewed them, and very involved with the development of this game. This is very exciting for me personally, and I'm sure it's very exciting for you as well, and I can't even imagine the excitement that's brimming from the developers themselves for finally having this labor of love coming to the point where they can show more and stop hiding behind the development while they develop at it because of all the things that have happened in the past. So I'm super excited. You should be super excited. For me, this is it. I feel like we're at the finish line and we're almost there, and it's really kind of crazy to be there, and I'm very excited to see what this is going to be. And once the new game comes out, I cannot wait to start a new series of game, and I have so many ideas, so many exciting things I can do with this, and I'm hoping that you're all excited to see what kind of things I can cook up on my channel. And I'm very excited to potentially get a nice post-development interview, post-mortem with the developers now that once it eventually comes out. Thank you guys so much for swinging by. If this is your first time hearing my Mondoid, I do this every week, and I hope this has been slightly informative to you, if not entertaining, listening to my sultry voice. And I hope to see you next week. If you're a regular, I'm glad you're back. And if you are new, feel free to check out all of my other stuff. I have a bunch of stuff on my channel, from video game reviews, previews, developer interviews, and of course, game playthroughs. And I will be seeing you next week if you're just a once-a-weeker. If not, I'll be seeing you shortly. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I'll see you later.